Welcome to the Coronavirus Weekly Brief. We're your hosts. I'm David Sterman.
And I'm Emily Schneider. Here are the headlines you need to know.
On Thursday, Oxford AstraZeneca released near-final clinical trial data showing that its vaccine has an efficacy rate of 76%, a slight drop from 79%, the figure reported by the company in an interim data report released Monday. This came in response to concerns raised publicly by the U.S. National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases and the trial's independent monitoring board that AstraZeneca had used outdated information to achieve that 79% figure. The new results are based on data from 191 patients, rather than 140, according to AstraZeneca. Monday's interim report did not include data more recent than mid-February 2021. According to scientists, the 3% drop in reported efficacy isn't particularly significant, but the controversy over AstraZeneca's results raises questions as to why the company released interim data prematurely and why the dispute happened so publicly. Fergus Walsh, BBC's medical editor, said the company may have tried to publish results quickly to quell concerns over the shot's side effects in Europe. AstraZeneca plans to file for emergency authorization from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration soon.
Tech giant Amazon received U.S. FDA authorization for the Amazon COVID-19 collection kit, its take-home nasal swab coronavirus test, on Thursday. Amazon subsidiary STS Lab Holdco has facilities that can process these test results using PCR technology in at least 7 states. This move is part of Amazon's effort to break into healthcare through COVID-19 research, wearable devices, and the company's virtual medicine platform, Amazon Care.
Mexico's government has acknowledged that the country's true death toll from the coronavirus pandemic is above 321,000, almost 60% more than the official test-confirmed number of 201,429. The new data comes from a report published by the government on Saturday that lists excess deaths, or the number of deaths above an expected average based on previous year's data, which gives a clearer picture of the true toll of the pandemic since testing is limited and many people died outside of the country's overwhelmed hospitals. The report also confirmed how devastating the second wave of the virus that hit Mexico in January was. The number of excess deaths jumped by 75,000 in just a month and a half. The higher death toll would exceed the official toll of Brazil, which has the world's second highest number of deaths due to the coronavirus after the U.S.
On Monday, Hindus across India threw colored powder and sprayed water in massive Holi celebrations in spite of restrictions on gatherings put in place to try to curb the spread of coronavirus. Holi marks the advent of spring and is normally celebrated by millions of people in outdoor mass gatherings. But this is the second year that Indian authorities have urged people to avoid celebrating. Authorities are worried that the gatherings will exacerbate an already grave situation as COVID-19 cases are hitting record numbers. On Monday, the Health Ministry reported 68,020 new cases, the sharpest daily increase since October. The surge is led by India's western state of Maharashtra, which on Sunday imposed a night curfew to try to contain the spread of the virus. Mumbai recorded 6,123 new cases, and the country as a whole recorded 62,714 new cases on Sunday. Quote, "We are seeing a higher COVID positive rate in high-rise residential buildings than in slums. To stop the spread, only essential services will be allowed," end quote, said the mayor of Mumbai, adding that hotels, pubs, and shopping malls must observe the night curfew rules. Other states are also seeing a rise in cases. Many Indians are questioning the government's highly publicized vaccination exports, as domestic vaccination efforts are lagging. India has supplied 61 million vaccine doses to as many as 77 countries, but it has only inoculated around 4% of India's 1.35 billion population.
On Sunday, doctors in Paris warned that hospitals would soon be overwhelmed by coronavirus cases as the third wave of the virus sweeps across the country. In an op-ed article, 41 doctors criticized the government's vaccine rollout, saying that the vaccinations were not being administered fast enough, creating a, quote, catastrophic medical situation. The article warned that hospitals would reach capacity in 2 weeks. Quote, "We have never experienced such a situation, even during the worst attacks in recent years," the doctors wrote, referring to the attacks by the Islamic State terrorists in Paris in 2015 that killed 130 people. Quote, "We will be forced to triage patients in order to save as many lives as possible," the doctors added, saying that the emergency would lead to, quote, "non-access of care for some patients."
Speaking in a CNN documentary titled COVID War, The Pandemic Doctors Speak Out, released on Saturday, Dr. Debra Burks, the White House coronavirus response coordinator under President Trump, stated that most COVID deaths after the first 100,000 were avoidable. Burks stated, quote, "I look at it this way. The first time we have an excuse, there were about 100,000 deaths that came from that original surge. All of the rest of them, in my mind, could have been mitigated or decreased substantially," end quote. More than 500,000 people have died in the United States so far from COVID-19.
On Thursday, President Biden announced he would be doubling his goal for the number of people who would be vaccinated in the first 100 days of his administration. Biden raised the goal to distributing 200 million doses of vaccine in the first 100 days. During his first press conference, Biden said, quote, "I know it's ambitious, twice our original goal, but no other country in the world has come close to what we are doing." Politico writes, the U.S. is now administering roughly 2.5 million doses per day, with more than 114 million shots given in the 2 months since Biden's inauguration. Barring any unexpected hiccups in the vaccine rollout, the country is already on pace to hit 200 million vaccinations in roughly 5 weeks, around Biden's 100th day in office, unquote.
To see our daily brief, go to the address in our show notes and follow us on Twitter, @NewAmericaISP.
The Coronavirus Weekly Brief was produced by Shannon Lynch and Jason Stewart and was edited by Shannon Lynch. This podcast is brought to you by New America and Arizona State University.